It's the Billy Revolution. It's up to you. Billy Revolution. Here's what you gotta do. The Billy Revolution. A quadrilateral grow under your chin, not in the center though, 'cause it's the Billy Revolution. It's the Billy Revolution. It's the Billy Revolution. Billy Revolution. Welcome to episode 3, season 4, Billy Revolution. It's voters' disillusionment. And we just want to have a short show today about where I think the disillusionment of the population towards politics is really coming from. And I think that obviously it's coming from a variety of places who have a variety of interests. So there's all sorts of groups and people that identify in groups, First Nations people, women, visible minorities, blue-collar white people, etc., etc. There's just a whole ton of self-identification in groups. And that's all fine. And a lot of those people are disillusioned for a variety of reasons that make sense. And that's great. But the overall disillusionment, I think, has more to do with the narrative that we tell the public. And I think the narrative we tell the public is rife with misinformation. Misinformation based on the idea that we all need to feel like we're good folk. And that the country is made up of good folk and the country does good folk sort of things. Now, of course, some of the latest things about missing First Nations women and murdered, and some things about the residential schools and some of the very rational things that our First Nations people are asking of the government and of the population of Canada. Those things, I think, are not unique to the problems our country faces. And I think that even right now as we speak, there are all sorts of things that are harmful to the environment, arms sales to foreign countries by businesses here in Canada, corporations in Canada, corporate control over media. I think all these things are really important. And I think what's most important, though, and what I think is causing the most disillusionment is that people are seeing through the lie that Canada is a good country and Canada means well. You can't do many of the things we do to other countries and mean well. We are part of a world order that sabotages the well-being of other countries and does that for economic gain. So there's a unhealthy capitalism. We'll call it unhealthy capitalism, right? Because capitalism could be lots of different things. And when you just say capitalism and free markets, there's lots of good reasons for thinking those things work. But unhealthy capitalism is the one that puts economics as the forefront of everything, and personal economics rather than shared economics. And I think that the narrative that we're thinking of the other is a narrative that we need to be wary of. I think there are obviously many good things that happen in this country, and I think many clear and helpful visions. But I think the most important thing to think at election is it possible that I'm disenfranchised, that I'm turned off the whole process, not because the leaders are arguing like babies on television, or not because they don't answer questions that people pose to them, or not because they try to bail out big companies that have a lot of clout in certain provinces. But is it because I know deep down that the narrative is untrue, that the storyline that I'm being fed about the peacekeepers and the people who are loved around the world, and that's a lie, and that we need to atone for the things we've done. And before we can do that, we have to accept the things we're done and that we're doing. And I think politics might become less of a disillusionment, seem less like a horse and pony show if we make that move. And so, this information is findable. And so I challenge everyone to look at what our foreign policy is, what really goes on in other countries thanks to us and thanks to the corporations that leave this country and go and cause havoc in a lot of other countries. And of course, we can focus on the positive, but we can't focus on the positive and ignore the negative. I hope everyone has a great time voting, and it's always a pleasure to be here at the Billy Revolution. Remember, the media is owned by fewer and fewer people, so that is an interesting journey, isn't it?
You and I are quite alike. You drove your car, baby. I brought my bike. You know that it is such a funny game when we pretend we're just the same.
Terrence and Katrina both care a great deal about democracy. Terrence supported one of the members of parliament in his local riding, went out to a couple of the meetings for his party, and also went to the riding debate, the debate in his riding between the MPs that were running in that region. Also, Terrence has a few issues that he's interested in, and so he posed the questions to the MP about what sort of lean they had on those issues. Katrina went and voted. They're doing the same thing.
It's the Billy Revolution. It's up to you. Billy Revolution is what you gotta do. The Billy Revolution, a quadrilateral grow under your chin, not in the center though, 'cause it's the Billy Revolution. It's the Billy Revolution.